Many games I've cherished over the years have been polished by multiple developers, created with so much love and detail that it deserved a place in my mind forever. Games that had a plan from start to finish, and was published completely with little to no flaws on release. But there are some games that aren't so lucky. Games that feel rushed or just out of reach from becoming one of my favorite video games, and is yet always in the back of my mind for years, itching to be played again and again. On December 25th, 2016, I was gifted one of these games for Christmas. Final Fantasy XV, Day 1 Edition. I've wanted to talk about this game for so long, and I've only recently replayed it, and pretty much 100%ed it. I've played this game as a teenager, not understanding any of the lore or why anything in the world was important. The only thing I did was fight and die. I just want to preface that this really is a Final Fantasy game for first-timers, because it is arguably the easiest entry in the series, and I still didn't beat it in 2015. But after coming back almost 10 years later, sitting down and analyzing the lore and understanding what exactly is going on in this game, it makes me so much sadder that this game was not given more time in development to become a 10 out of 10 experience. So let's talk about this. So I said I got the Day 1 edition of this game in 2016, so that means the game was developed sometime in the early 2010s, right?
Wrong!
Final Fantasy XV was starting its development all the way back to 2006. Now this might seem strange because at the time Final Fantasy XII was the most recent game to release. So did Square Enix forget to count? Surprisingly no. While the next Final Fantasy was being produced, Square Enix decided to promote its next game with two new spin-offs to be released alongside it, that being Final Fantasy Agito and Final Fantasy Versus 13. This is the origins of Final Fantasy XV. This game was first developed by the same director of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, Tetsuya Nomura. Multiple trailers were made under the Versus 13 title, claiming that this is a fantasy based on reality in every trailer. After watching these trailers for the first time, it's extremely jarring hearing the same songs, seeing the same enemies, and even the same main characters from these trailers. I've even noticed the striking similarities between the city of Insomnia from the final game compared to the unnamed city they used for the Versus 13 trailers, with the same theme being more modern and brooding. With this game in development next to the addition of Agito, the plan for the 13th game was for the overall world to be integrated with the two new spin-offs being made, and potentially future titles of the series. This would be known as Fabula Nova Crystallis. What sounded incredible in theory was received poorly by fans and critics, claiming that using the same mythos was too alike, and too confusing to keep up with, while new titles within the shared universe were being published. For Square Enix, this grand plan of bringing all of these titles together could potentially lead to a major setback for the company. Years have passed. Final Fantasy XIII released on March 9th, 2010, with good ratings from critics and overall positive opinions from fans. Versus 13 dropped a few new trailers with more familiar faces and voice acting, yet didn't have any news about a release date. Agito has also not made any release date plans for any consoles and no plan of releasing at all. That's because it released under a different title. A year after Final Fantasy XIII drops, a new online RPG is released on the PSP, Final Fantasy Type 0, the first game in the Fabula Nova Crystallis subseries. Square Enix bites the bullet and tries this new endeavor, seeing if fans will appreciate the beginning of an extensive connected universe. But did they succeed? In terms of sales, they did a phenomenal job. Fans were, however, skeptical, and reviews between supporters were mixed and uncertain about the future of Final Fantasy games to come. Eventually, the Fabula Nova Crystallis idea was discarded due to both fan reception and the difference in ideas between directors of each new game, with Final Fantasy Agito finally releasing in 2014 as a mobile game. Versus 13 was still nowhere to be found. A year later, Type 0 got an HD remaster, porting the PSP game to home consoles, along with a new trailer. With the release of this trailer, fans were, of course, excited to play this game, with higher graphics and gameplay adjusted for console controls. But something else caught everyone else's eye. Final Fantasy XV was here, as a demo. Versus 13 has officially converted into its own mainline game, with a new director and in its own timeline. With massively positive reviews on the demo, the full game came out worldwide on November 26, 2016. To help hype up the game, Square Enix released two movies, showcasing backstories for all the main characters. Kingsglaive told the story of the titular guardsmen trying to protect their king from an oncoming attack, and Brotherhood, which is an anime depicting the 4 main characters and how they all got to know each other in their childhoods. With all of this releasing, Square Enix was completely confident that Final Fantasy XV would be an international hit. Holy shit, it worked. Final Fantasy XV sold over 5 million copies overseas within their first day, which was also the first Final Fantasy game to ever accomplish this goal. As of the release of this video, Final Fantasy XV has made Square Enix almost $1 billion in sales, which wasn't as good as their last game, but whatever. Players were stunned by the charming main cast, the beautiful landscapes, and the breath of fresh air due to new real-time gameplay mechanics, as opposed to the usual wait then attack playstyle. Now you might be thinking, Salmon, this sounds like the greatest game ever. How could they have messed this up? To which I answer, I don't know. I really don't know. The day after its release, a patch had to be made on account of players reporting major camera issues, and the use of the main menu while driving. A month later, a second patch released, adding New Game Plus and fixes to the game's display area. Another patch released 4 months later, including a new, easier chapter route, new cutscenes for some of the antagonists, and a new DLC for one of the main characters, known as Episode Gladiolus. Numerous more patches were taking place for years, indicating that this game was not truly complete. It's one thing to add fixes to bugs, but with adding multiple episodes alongside entire cutscenes and dialogue to help wrap up the game, it begs the question, was this game truly ready to be released? To answer this, allow me to summarize the entire story of Final Fantasy XV. The game begins with our main protagonist, Noctis Lucis Calum, the Crown Prince of Lucis, in a flash forward fighting an unknown demon. During the fight, Noctis is saved by his best friends, Prompto, Ignis, and Gladio. His name is Gladiolus, but no one calls him that. Moments before the real fight begins, we shift to the current day, to the city of Insomnia, the home of Prince Noctis. Inside the throne room, King Regis says his goodbyes to his son, who's leaving his homeland to wed the Princess of Tenebrae and childhood friend, Lunafreya. The wedding is arranged due to the ceasefire agreement between the Kingdom of Lucis and the Empire of Niflheim. The actual game starts with our main characters pushing a dead car for 3 minutes, which isn't the best start, but it's extremely memorable and showcases how well the main cast interacts with each other, and how amusing they can be when they're by themselves.
Gladio, do me a favor.
What?
Push this thing by yourself.
All by myself?
You won't even notice if we just let go.
Prompto, don't even think about it!
After we push our car, the Regalia, to a nearby mechanic shop called Hammerhead, we are acquainted with Final Fantasy XV's most iconic characters, Cindy. We're tasked by the owner to kill some pests nearby in exchange for fixing our car, since we have no money. Somehow. We're now introduced to the new and improved real-time battle system. The game teaches you how to attack, roll dodge, defend yourself, and lock onto enemies. The game also shows you how to perform the infamous warp strike, an insanely cool mechanic that allows the player to warp to any enemy and strike them from afar. After the pests are taken care of, Cindy asks the group to deliver a package to a nearby rest area. With the Regalia fixed, Noctis and his friends head out. While at the rest stop, Noctis encounters Umbra, a messenger dog, who brought a notebook that Noctis and Lunafreya exchanged with each other for years, keeping in contact with each other. After Noctis writes his own message to her, the gang head out to Golden Key to catch the ferry to Altissia, the place set for the wedding. As we head to the dock, we meet a character that will only be in this one cutscene and never brought up ever again. He tells us the ferry is closed and then tries to give us a penny he found on the ground. After doing a bunch of random side quests and having some bro time with Gladio, we find out that something terrible has happened in Insomnia.
As treaty room tempers flared, blast lit the night sky. When the smoke about the citadel had cleared, the king was found dead.
The next morning, the boys wake up to the news. Insomnia has fallen. This scene is a great example of how well the voice casting was throughout the game.
What's that look for?
It's in all the papers.
What is? Insomnia falls. What? This your idea of a joke?
I need you to calm down so I can explain.
I'm as calm as I'm gonna get.
There was an attack. The Imperial army has taken the Crown City.
Niflheim forces break the armistice with Lucis and have completely taken over and destroyed the city. Hearing the news, our main characters have a major decision to make. Trying to make their way back to Insomnia, Niflheim soldiers flood the only roadway there. As Noctis battles his way through the troops, he finds a vantage point with a view of Insomnia in the distance. And sadly,
as the ceasefire discussions between the two nations, all provisional terms have been suspended in light of recent developments. Moreover, in the wake of the news of King Regis's death, we've now received word that Crown Prince Noctis and the Oracle Lunafreya have also been pronounced dead.
Keep it on.
Don't bother!
About the king. It's true.
a poorly timed achievement pops up as we're left with the heavy burden of the death of King Regis and Lady Lunafreya. Yeah, this is gonna take a bit. We instantly find out Lunafreya is not dead and has received our message knowing we're safe. Returning to Hammerhead, we find out the owner, Sid, has known the king for a while and got some extra information about the overnight invasion. Before the ceasefire, King Regis placed a barrier surrounding the city, protecting it from harm for decades. Niflheim made an agreement with King Regis, granting permission to seize countries around Insomnia, but keeping Insomnia completely free from any rule. The agreement was all for naught, and during the signing, Niflheim raided Insomnia, broke down the barrier, and completely took the city over. Now knowing this, Noctis says, screw this, I'm playing pinball. We then meet up with some of the Crown's Guard while also meeting Kor. He's one of the highest ranking officers of the Crown's Guard, and has told Noctis about the power of past kings, known as royal tombs. In these tombs are the weapons of the previous leaders of Lucis. Noctis starts to feel the overwhelming pressure of becoming the king and savior of all his people.
Entrusted the role of protector to you.
Entrusted it to me. Then why didn't he tell me that? Why did he stand there smiling as I left? Why? Why did he lie to me?
After an emotional scene, Noctis claims the power of the first tomb, and soon fights his way through the second one. These are the dungeons of the game, with the end goal normally being a royal arm. These weapons are incredibly powerful, and are extremely diverse as you find them throughout the series. Elsewhere, the Emperor of Niflheim speaks with RAVUS Nox Fleuret, High Commander of the Imperial Army, and older brother of Lunafreya. He's ordered to find and capture the future king of Lucis, and claim an important artifact from Luna, the Ring of the Luci. After claiming the second royal tomb, our main crew heads to the town of Lestalem, meeting up with more familiar faces from Insomnia, including Gladio's younger sister, Iris. Following more side quests and spending the day with Iris, we get a little heart-to-heart talk with Prompto, focusing on how deep and emotional our characters are. After reassuring Prompto and telling him he's one of the boys, we save up enough money for a sick new recolor for the regalia. Noctis realizes he didn't bring any ibuprofen for the trip, and we meet that one guy I said we'd never meet again. I am an impulsive liar. His name is ARDYN, and says he can take them to the source of Noctis' headaches, the Disc of Kothis. While following ARDYN to the disc and making a quick stop to refuel, there's actually a secret cutscene you can play, depicting Lunafreya healing a sick man using her powers. Her powers are due to her being the Oracle, having the ability to speak to gods and helps connect the astrals with humankind. Now that they're prepped up, ARDYN and her boys head to the disc to confront one of these gods, Titan. ARDYN is suspiciously able to open a gate left closed by the Imperial Army, as our boys head to the center of the disc to confront Titan. After surprisingly finding a royal tomb at the disc, Tremors knock down the tomb along with Noctis and Gladio. We find that Titan is holding the disc and has awoken. Gladio tries to find a way out of the burning hot center, while Noctis complains like, once. This pisses off Gladio, and he asks us a question with a very obvious answer, increasing our strength. Thank you, Gladio. Titan throws some punches at us while we regroup with Ignis and Prompto, that we somehow parry because we're just that good. After defeating him, we find out Lunafreya has spoken to the Titan previously, and is planning to talk to all of the gods, and tell them to trust in Noctis, and grant him their godlike power. Noctis is granted the Mark of Titan, and is rescued by ARDYN in an Imperial dropship. ARDYN is revealed to be the Chancellor of Niflheim, and it's unknown why he is helping our protagonists with their mission. Realizing that the regalia was taken by the Imperial Army during the Titan fight, they are stopped by the human-like messenger of the gods, Gentiana. She leads them to find and activate the runestones of the lightning god Ramu. This leads to another dungeon with a scary snake lady, Jesus fucking Christ! And after turning purple, Noct gets the Mark of Ramu. Cindy then calls us and informs that the regalia is inside an Imperial base. In the middle of the night, the gang sneaks in to infiltrate the base and takes back the car. while also destroying the power supply to the base summoning Ramuh. As we leave, RAVUS corners and intimidates us before ARDYN swoops down to call off RAVUS and his army. Meeting back up with Iris, she tells the gang that the Empire came to Lestalem and murked this old dude, R.I.P. Jared. With two gods on their side and fire in their hearts, the boys are ready to take revenge on the Empire and set sail for Altissia. But first, they had to meet a baddie.
Hey, pretty boy.
We'll meet her later. We now head to Cape Kayam, where a boat is waiting for them, but of course it's not ready as they need Mithril to fix it. Gladio randomly leaves us for this chapter, so now the three amigos head to the Vesper Pool, another dungeon, to find some. We find ARDYN waiting for us with his army, and knows that we need Mithril, so he sends out one of his commanders to join us and help find some in the dungeon, that person being Aranea Highwind, the baddie. With the dungeon boss and Mithril found, we finally meet back up with Gladio and are now finally ready to leave Lucis and head to Altissia, this time with no intention of being wedded. One very long boat ride later, the boys have finally made it to the foreign city of Altissia, now annexed under the Empire. They are here to meet up with Lunafreya, get the ring, and receive the blessing of this giant water snake Leviathan. During this cool boss fight, Luna remembers she's in a Final Fantasy game and gets stabbed by the main antagonist. Before she falls, Luna grants Noctis another royal arm, and he's now able to fly around for some reason, and bitch slap Leviathan for a few minutes. After Noctis does the fucking coolest thing ever, slicing a literal god and filleting it, Lunafreya uses the last bit of her strength to give Noctis the Ring of the Luci. Is it Luci? Whatever. With the ring being a heavy burden on Noct, the gang leaves for Growlia, the Imperial capital, to claim the crystal. The crystal is an extremely potent magic source for the ring, and when paired together would help Noctis take back Insomnia. After Gladio tells Noctis to just simply suck it up and get over his dead fiancé, things start to get tense.
Let go of me.
How's that ring fit you? You rather carry it around than wear it? She gave her life so you could do your duty, not so you could sit around feeling sorry for yourself.
You don't think I know that?
You don't! Ignis took one for you too. And for what?
Enough, Gladio.
You think you're a king, but you're a coward.
Shut up! Don't do this! I get it, all right? I get it!
Then get a grip. Pull your head out of your ass already.
Noct!
Leave him.
Also, Ignis is blind now and walks slow as shit. We stop at a random train station and find another royal tomb, guarded by a Malboro. Ignis is now helpful and kills it with fire, granting us another royal arm. As we reach the capital, it starts to randomly snow as we now see ARDYN is on the train with us. Before we can apprehend him, the train gets hijacked. Noctis and Prompto take out all the Imperial troops and airships trying to seize the train, and while Noctis heads back to the train to regroup with Prompto...
Prompto!
How long were you in the dark?
Yeah, I don't know how he did that either. After stopping at Lunafreya's homeland, we find out that RAVUS is now somewhat good and wants to give us back King Regis' sword, even though he stole it in the movie. Before we head back on the train, Aranea tells us she's a good guy now, and escorts the passengers back with her army. As ARDYN's army of demons grows stronger, daylight is slowly diminishing, leaving nothing but darkness. This in turn strengthens the demons enough to completely halt the train. After the gang, except Prompto, defeats the demons and reboards, ARDYN is back and starts fucking with Noctis before Gentiana appears and is revealed to be the goddess of ice, Shiva. After a 10-minute lore dump, Shiva grants us her blessing and freezes ARDYN, but it's not actually him and he has time manipulation abilities. ARDYN then tells us where Prompto is, captured in the heart of Growlia. Soon after, more demons flood the train, and the gang have no choice but to escape with the regalia. Imperial forces shoot our car, and we're now left on foot. R.I.P. regalia. The gang then gets split up, and we're forced to head in alone as Noctis into the capital full of demons. Noctis finally bears the ring's power and can now, suck the souls out of demons. Alright. Due to ARDYN restricting our magic, we're now forced to only use the ring to defeat the demons. While searching, Noctis finds RAVUS dead and receives King Regis' sword, the Sword of the Father. A few puzzles and way too many jump scares and fake outs later. Oh my god, dude! We reunite with Gladio and Ignis and soon after finally find Prompto and save him. And then I got stuck in a wall and I had to restart this entire mission. God, I hate this mission, man. As we head to find the crystal, we meet a familiar face.
Your Majesty, your precious crystal awaits you. To liven things up, I thought I'd take you on a stroll down memory lane. Of course, memories decay with time.
ARDYN, being the prick villain he is, morphs Ravus into a horrifyingly powerful demon hybrid. We kill him instantly. After his defeat, demons slowly start to pack the room, leaving Noctis to find the crystal on his own while his friends fend off the monsters. Before we use the crystal, ARDYN appears again and drops a major plot twist.
I gave you my name earlier, but you should know that it was not a name given to me at birth. ARDYN Lucis Kylum is my proper name.
This was literally never talked about in the game, by the way. Noctis is chill with that and still uses the crystal's power, but Noctis slowly starts to get pulled inside it. We then get the beautiful reveal of one of the coolest character designs in the game, Bahamut. He tells Noctis that ARDYN is related to the first king of Lucis and is fused with the longevity of a demon, granting him full immunity of death. In order to fully defeat the darkness, Noct must rest in the crystal for 10 years, absorbing all the past powers of Lucis kings into the Ring of the Luci. All Noct can do now is to sit and wait, as an entire decade of darkness passes. Ten years pass, and an older and wiser Noctis appears in Lucis. The messenger dog Umbra also appears and hands Noctis a note. His friends are waiting for him in Hammerhead. We're shown a completely apocalyptic Lucis, filled with numerous demons under a constant black sky. Noctis fights his way to Hammerhead until Deus Ex Machina saves the trip of walking 10 miles uphill. Talcott, son of dead old guy Jared, gives Noctis a lift to Hammerhead, and after 10 years apart reunites with our boys. Ignis is not blind anymore, thank God. At long last, the four boys reach Insomnia, overran by both demons and Magitech troops, including a level 120 monster that nobody fucks with. We also reunite with Core, letting all the survivors who stood their ground at Insomnia know that their rightful king has returned. After a necessary king speech, Noctis marches toward his home with his friends to the throne room, and ultimately faces ARDYN, brother of the first king of Lucis. As our heroes approach the citadel, a familiar foe has been summoned.
Ifrit, the Infernian. He doesn't share the Glacian's fondness for mankind. But you can expect a warm welcome. I shall await you above.
The god of fire, Ifrit. Yeah, in that cutscene from the very beginning, Noct was fighting a fucking god. Which in retrospect now doesn't seem that crazy, but still, pretty fucking cool. After one of the best boss themes in the game plays, we defeat Ifrit. We forget that Ifrit hates white people, so he doesn't... We forget that Ifrit hates white people, so he doesn't give us his blessing. We summon Shiva, and she literally disintegrates him into ice. ARDYN starts to sweat, realizing the player needs more content, so he controls and summons 3 past leaders of Lucis to fight for him, one with 2 phases. Before heading into the throne room, Prompto asks us what photo we'd like to take with us before the final battle. Oh yeah, Prompto's been taking photos during the entire game. We choose the most appropriate photo. The gang heads inside, and if you thought ARDYN wasn't really that bad of a villain, here's your evidence. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, like, chill out. ARDYN knocks out our friends and just wants a good old-fashioned round of fisticuffs with Noctis. We rock his shit with every royal arm, which is such a satisfying scene, and finally kill ARDYN.
Now it is over, Majesty. What will you do? Banish the demons and bring peace? Erase me from history once more?
I'm gonna play pinball. Yeah, pinball! Woohoo! Yeah! Noctis delivers one final speech to his now conscious friends, knowing it's the last time he will ever see them. Noctis sits in the throne room and prepares the ritual, summoning every king's power into the ring. Noctis is now fully inside the crystal with all of the king's powers, ready to strike ARDYN down. ARDYN, who was once unkillable, now slowly withers away, finally granting him mortality. And with Noctis's calling of the chosen king fulfilled, Noctis and the ring vanishes without a trace, never to be seen again. The game then ends with one last look back at the beginning before the attack, showcasing memories and photos taken from the journey. A post-credit scene shows Noctis admitting to his friends that dispelling the darkness will cost his own life for the sake of mankind, being one of the most emotional scenes in this game.
So I've made my peace. Still, knowing this is it, and seeing you here now, it's more than I can take.
Yeah, you're damn right it is.
Huh. You spit it out.
Another post-credit scene then shows the darkness surrounding Lucis slowly dissipating as the first sunrise gently creeps up into the sky, shining light on all of the land. We then cut back to Insomnia in broad daylight, as Noctis and Lunafreya are shown in their wedding attire, finally reuniting as they rest on the Insomnian throne.
Oh shit, that was the logo! Oh shit, they completed the logo! Holy shit!
So, what are my takeaways on this game? As I mentioned before, I got the day one edition of this game when it first dropped on Xbox One, and as a stupid teenager, I still enjoyed my time with it. That doesn't automatically make this game a 10 out of 10 though. Looking back at it now, Final Fantasy XV was 100% rushed due to the pressure from the community and the higher-ups, and Square Enix did the best they could with the time they had. I do have massive respect for the company now due to them knowing this game would feel rushed along with plots not making sense, and opted to make movies and shows to help retain the audience's memory with the lore. But on the other hand, this game would have felt so much more complete if they were given a few more months to wrap up the ending. The beginning of this game is so great when handling the story, and then after Chapter 7, it completely falls off. By the time you get out of Altissia, you just move so quickly from place to place with no time to stop and take any info in. Also, the part after they board the train and several days pass since Luna died is such a wasted opportunity for Noctis to feel like he's at his lowest point. Then Gladio coming in and bitching at him just comes out of nowhere and starts getting confusing. Also, some of these camera glitches are definitely still there currently. Playing this game now after a few years reminded me of how bad some of the camera angles are when you fight. If an enemy is too big, you just go inside the enemy so it looks like you're attacking nothing. And the Leviathan fight would have been perfect if the fight wasn't just locking onto the boss and holding a single button waiting for it to die. This completely takes out how immersive this game tries to be. Without a shadow of a doubt, Final Fantasy XV still has some major setbacks that hinders this game from becoming a masterpiece. However, I still have some extreme positives to bring up. Despite the dark main story, the open world has such a cozy, feel-good vibe throughout it. All throughout the game, you're driving with your friends, knowing you have each other's backs, fighting monsters in one moment, then amusingly bickering with each other in the next. Final Fantasy XV pulls this feeling off so well that it makes you really feel for the characters and their struggles. The art and scenery in this game is phenomenal. As someone that normally hates long walks in video games, Final Fantasy XV does such a great job showing all the nice landscapes and natural creatures that appear in it, like this giant giraffe thing. This lets you get a feel for the game's atmosphere without forcing it down your throat. Another extreme pro to this game are the characters. Every main character in this game is such a joy to listen to thanks to the voice actors, nailing it out of the park with their reads.
Sharp our day.
Except for that one. The writing for the main protagonists are also so compelling and deep. Even after the main game, DLC episodes were made throughout the year showcasing each of Noctis' friends and highlighting their main struggles. For example, episode Ignis. What a fucking masterpiece. In this DLC, we see what happens when Noctis is knocked out after the Leviathan fight, with Ignis liberating the city from Imperial troops while teaming up with RAVUS. They both share the same motive of protecting someone they deeply care about, as Luna is also in great danger trying to give the ring to Noctis. We find ARDYN trying to stop us from saving Luna and Noctis, and as a last-ditch effort from Ignis, wears the ring and demands the power of the kings. Of course, only royal blood can wield its power, so Ignis is granted the power to save Noctis in exchange for his eyesight. I did not know this is why Ignis was blind for 10 fucking years. It blew my mind. Absolute writing. Before I replayed this game, Ignis to me was just a keen and cautious retainer to Noctis, showing him how to be a proper king and nothing more. Now I see him as a loyal friend to Noctis, pledging all he has for his cause, and this episode showcases this beautifully. Episode Prompto is another great example, as we find out while Prompto is kidnapped in the capital, he's actually an experiment and a clone of the head scientist of Niflheim. This goes deeper into why Prompto could unlock one of the main gates during Chapter 13. After going through an identity crisis and not knowing who he truly is, Aranea shows up to tell him that his friends will like him the same no matter what. Because to them, Prompto is just a regular guy, and no matter who he was in the past, they'll always see Prompto as their friend. Just all around great and fun additions Square Enix didn't need to add, but felt obligated to for the fans. Another topic that I deem positive are the main characters' skills. Each one has a unique skill inspired by their hobbies. Noctis is fishing, Gladio's hiking, Ignis is cooking, and Prompto's photography, with the last one being one of my favorite additions. Noctis' skill is just a fishing minigame, that's alright, and Gladio's just gives you items after battles. But at the end of the day when you camp, Ignis can cook a meal that boosts stats, while Prompto takes photos throughout the entire day. This helps bring home that idea of 4 friends traveling the world together and seeing all of the sights. This game also explains the motives of the main antagonist well with episode ARDYN. This DLC showcases who ARDYN truly is and who he was in the past. It turns out he's the brother of the first king Somnus. After Somnus murders his brother's fiancée, ARDYN becomes an immortal demon from the crystal, rejecting him. He then vows to either kill all Lucians or let the chosen king kill him, so that the Lucius bloodline may finally end. This fleshed out ARDYN's character so much for me, and gave me a good analysis on ARDYN's true nature. This also made me sympathize more with ARDYN and his tragic backstory. My last positive I'd like to discuss is an addition to Final Fantasy XV. The Royal Edition. This was released much later after Final Fantasy came out, and added hours of new content for players. This included Insomnia ruins at the end of the game, which allowed us to walk around Insomnia before we fought ARDYN. You could talk to survivors and do quests with them, brand new enemies spawned in, and they added a new boss before the final battle, Cerberus, which was easy as hell when I beat it, but it was still a fun addition nonetheless. Also, those fights with the past kings of Lucius, that's a Royal Edition inclusion as well. First person mode was also added, allowing fans to play the game in a brand new perspective, along with open road driving and open sea exploration in the boat for fish catching. The Royal Edition also added all the DLC episodes for free with Final Fantasy XV. Episode ARDYN was included, but it was only $5, so like no big deal. This edition is obviously superior to the base game, and a much needed upgrade for it. All of these later editions were great, but it upsets me that all of these changes had to have happened later down the line, and found in multiple different parts. I wish this game could have had all its DLC integrated with Final Fantasy XV, instead of being split up between movies, DLC, shows, and novels. Although this game is astounding, most of the greater parts feel so split up and disconnected, and has cursed this game with so much wasted potential. In conclusion, Final Fantasy XV to me is a guilty pleasure that could have been exceptional had it been given more time. While this game had a few major bumps in the road, I would still recommend this game to any new fans interested in the series. Out of all the 16 main series games, it's a good start with its easy combat and likable characters. But if you were interested in the lore of this world, that will be a lot more confusing than other Final Fantasy games. At the same time, Final Fantasy games are just confusing in general. If I were to rate this game, I'd have to give it a 6 out of 10 for the base game, and a 7.5 out of 10 for the Royal Edition. This is coming from a very unbiased standpoint, because in my heart, this game would be a 9 for me. However, with its repetitive combat and really bad fetch quests, I'd say an 8 would be generous. I had a very fun time going back to memory lane, and I'm very glad I spent so much time with this game, with none of any of the side content feeling like a waste of time. Even by itself, they're good. All in all, Final Fantasy XV will never be on my top 10 list, but it will always have a special place in my heart.